The Galactic Empire had controlled the stars for more than 3,000 years. Their fleets ruled every trade route, every border world, and every deep space gate. In the Empire's history, only one truth had stayed the same: no species could challenge Imperial power. Humans were not included in the list of serious threats. Humans were young. Humans were loud. Humans were still learning how the galaxy worked. They were seen as brave, but primitive. Their ships were small compared to the Empire's war machines. Their weapons were strong only in close fights. The Empire believed humans could not create true warships like the ones that carried Imperial flags. That belief was broken in one night. It started at the far edge of Imperial space, near the black silent zone called the Gorgon Rift. Few ships traveled there. The space was cold, empty, and full of hidden gravity storms. Only patrol fleets moved along that border, scanning for smugglers or rebels. On that night, Patrol Fleet Sigma 9 received a signal. At first, it seemed like a normal sensor alert. A small red light blinked on the bridge. One officer looked at it, sighed, and expected another broken satellite or a lost cargo drone. But then the ship's AI began to speak in a strange tone. Unknown object detected. The captain, Admiral Voron Krall, raised his head. He was a veteran of 20 wars. He did not fear random alerts. "What kind of object?" he asked. The sensor officer's hands moved fast over the screen. "Sir, it's huge." "How huge?" the admiral asked, still calm. The officer swallowed. "Sir, it does not match any size chart. It is larger than an Imperial heavy carrier." Silence hit the bridge. That made no sense. Nothing that large should be in this sector. Not even the Empire placed ships that big so far from the core. The radar image slowly formed into a clear shape. A single ship. Not a fleet. Not a station. One ship. And it was moving like it owned the darkness. The officers stared. The hull design was not Imperial. It was not from any known alien power either. It looked brutal and clean at the same time. Like a weapon carved from metal and shadow. It had no decoration. No glowing Empire markings. No colors. Just a dark body, sharp edges, and silent lights. The admiral leaned closer. "Identify it." The AI answered, "No match found." The crew exchanged confused looks. The Empire had records of almost every ship in the galaxy. Even outlaw designs. Even old wreck models. Nothing matched this. The sensor officer zoomed in again. "Sir, this ship has active systems. It has shields, but the shield signature is unknown. Also, the energy output is impossible." "Explain," the admiral said. The officer hesitated. "It's producing more power than our battleship reactors. And it's not even accelerating." Another officer spoke. "It could be a trap." Voron Krall's eyes became cold. No one traps an Imperial fleet. But even he felt something deep in his chest. A feeling he hated. Uncertainty. The ship was positioned near an Imperial jump gate route. That route was vital. If something blocked it, trade and military movements would slow down. The admiral ordered, "Send a drone scout." A small drone launched and raced toward the unknown warship. It reached scanning range and sent video back. The bridge screen showed the ship up close. It was terrifying. It was not smooth like Imperial ships. It was layered, like armor over armor, built to survive everything. Hidden weapon doors could be seen across its body. And the front looked like the mouth of a predator. One officer whispered, "Humans can't build warships like this." The admiral didn't answer. He was still watching the screen. Then his eyes narrowed. The ship had a symbol near its center. It was simple. White. Human letters. The censor officer read it slowly. Titan class. ESS Grave of Kings. The room froze. A human ship. The Empire's greatest leaders would never believe it. But it was real. The truth was right in front of them, cutting through pride like a blade. A communication officer spoke quickly. "Sir, should we open a channel?" Voron Krall stared at the massive vessel. Then he said, "Yes. Inform them they are in Imperial space." The officer sent the message. There was no reply. 10 seconds passed. Then 20. Still silence. Then the human ship moved. Not fast. Not aggressive. But the way it turned, slowly, confidently, felt like a warning. As it faced the Imperial fleet, lights activated across its hull. Not bright lights. Quiet lights. Weapon lights. The admiral suddenly felt every officer holding their breath. And then a single message arrived. It was short. Cold. Simple. You entered restricted space. Turn back. The Empire had never been spoken to like that. Not once. And for the first time in centuries, an Imperial war bridge went completely silent. News traveled faster than ships. Within an hour, the report from Patrol Fleet Sigma 9 reached the Imperial core. The words moved through secure channels, across hidden towers, and into the highest war chamber of the Galactic Empire. At the center of the capital world stood the Black Spire, a giant structure of metal and stone, built to remind every species who ruled the galaxy. Deep inside it, the Empire's war room was alive with tension. Red holograms floated in the air. Fleet maps flickered. Officers spoke in sharp voices. But the loudest sound was something else. Silence. The Emperor's Council sat in a half-circle of dark seats, watching the live feed from the border. On the main screen, the human ship floated in space like a giant shadow. Its name remained visible, ESS Grave of Kings. The Empire's Supreme Admiral, Kale Draven, stood with arms behind his back. He was tall, proud, and famous for crushing rebellions with no mercy. His eyes stayed fixed on the screen. "A human ship," he said coldly. "A joke." An older council member spoke carefully. "The patrol fleet reports the ship's power output is beyond our charts." "It may be." "Impossible," Kale cut in. "Humans are not capable of building such a warship. They are loud inventors, nothing more. This is either an illusion or stolen technology." Another counselor asked, "Could it be an unknown alien weapon pretending to be human?" Kale's jaw tightened. "No alien would use human letters. That is weakness." The Emperor finally spoke. His voice was slow and heavy, like stone moving. "Then prove it. Break the silence. Force the ship to obey." Kale bowed. "As you command." Within minutes, orders were sent. A full Imperial battle group was activated, Fleet Hammer 12. 12 warships, 3 heavy cruisers, and 1 Imperial dread carrier. They were fast. They were feared. They had erased entire moons in past wars. Kale Draven watched their icons move toward the border on the holographic map. "Surround it," he ordered. "No human vessel stands above Imperial law." Back at Sigma 9, Admiral Voron Krall received the new command. His face showed no emotion, but his thoughts were sharp. He did not like this situation. The human ship had not attacked, but it also had not shown fear. When Fleet Hammer 12 arrived, space became crowded with massive Imperial ships. They formed a perfect circle around the human vessel, keeping distance but making their power clear. The human ship did not move. It remained perfectly still. It was like the ship was waiting. Kale Draven opened a public channel, letting the human ship hear every word. "This is Supreme Admiral Kale Draven of the Galactic Empire," he said. You are trespassing in restricted Imperial space. Power down your systems and prepare to be boarded. The human ship stayed silent. Kale's eyes narrowed. You will answer. No reply. One of Kale's officers whispered, Sir, they might be testing us. Kale raised a hand. Then we show them what power looks like. He ordered a warning shot. One Imperial cruiser fired a single plasma bolt, carefully aimed to miss. The bolt tore through space and exploded into nothing. The Empire expected fear. They expected the human ship to move back. But nothing happened. Not even a shield flicker. The human ship did not shake. It did not drift. It did not turn. It was as if the shot had been fired at a mountain. Kale stepped forward, anger burning in his eyes. Fire again. Closer. Another plasma bolt flashed, closer this time. It hit the human ship's shield. Everyone waited for impact. The bolt touched the shield and vanished like smoke. No explosion. No damage. No sound. The Imperial officers stared in disbelief. The shield did not even glow. The war room in the Black Spire went quiet. Council members leaned forward. Even the Emperor's face tightened. Then something happened. All Imperial screens flickered at once. Lights dimmed. Sound systems died. Communication channels cut out completely. For 10 seconds, every Imperial ship was blind. The officers on Sigma 9 shouted, We lost connection. Kale's fleet panicked. Pilots called out, but no one could hear them. Then, just as suddenly, everything returned. But now, the human ship had changed. Silent lights across its hull had shifted color. Weapon doors moved slightly, like eyes opening. A message appeared on every Imperial screen, even inside the Emperor's war room. Simple. Clean. Terrifying. That was a warning. Do not fire again. Kale Draven's mouth opened, but no words came out. For the first time in his life, the Supreme Admiral did not know what to do. And the Empire remained silent. The warning message stayed on every Imperial screen like a scar. No one wanted to speak first, because the truth behind those words was heavier than fear. In the war room of the Black Spire, Supreme Admiral Kale Draven stood frozen. His pride was still there, but now it was shaking. The Empire had never been blinded before. Not by rebels, not by ancient weapons, not by unknown cosmic storms. But this human ship had done it with ease. The Emperor's council watched him in silence, waiting for his next action. Kale could feel their eyes like knives. If he showed weakness, his power would fall. He slowly inhaled and forced his voice to stay hard. It is using stolen technology. We will not kneel. A council member raised a hand. Admiral, our best systems could not break their shield. Their ship disabled our fleet for 10 seconds without firing. That was control, not luck. Kale turned sharply. Control can be broken. The Emperor's voice returned, calm but dangerous. Then discover what it is. Scan it fully. I want every secret pulled into the light. Kale nodded and sent the order. On the border, Fleet Hammer 12 began deep scanning. Special probes were launched. Long-range sensor beams cut through space. Imperial technicians worked like mad, feeding data into the core systems. At first, the human ship resisted the scan. It was like scanning a black hole, information vanished. But the Empire's best AI kept pushing, slicing the scan into thousands of small pieces. Slowly, the truth appeared. Officer Jarn, the lead scanner, spoke with a trembling voice. Sir, this hull is not one layer. It's many. How many? Kale demanded. Jarn swallowed. At least 12 armored layers, each with different density. Some parts are made of materials we cannot identify. The armor is self-repairing. A second officer added, the ship's internal structure is not normal. It has multiple cores, like it has more than one heart. Kale's eyes narrowed. Weapons? Jarn hesitated. Yes, sir. Too many. Hidden ports along the spine. Rail cannons larger than a cruiser's main gun. Missile bays. Drone hangars. And, something else. What? Kale snapped. Jarn leaned closer to his screen, sweat on his forehead. A weapon system we cannot classify. The energy readings are not plasma. Not ion. Not gravitic. It's, like controlled starfire. The war room became colder. The Emperor's Council did not argue now. Their faces showed only one thing, worry. Kale wanted to scream, but instead he clenched his fists and whispered, humans should not have this. Back at Sigma 9, Admiral Voron Krall watched the scan data too. His veteran instincts told him one thing, this ship was not made to show power. It was made to survive war. A communication officer suddenly shouted, incoming channel request. Voron's heart beat once, hard. Put it through. The main screen lit up. A human appeared, not in armor, not in a helmet. Just a calm face, short dark hair, and clear eyes that showed no fear. The human wore a simple uniform with a small silver symbol on the chest. No anger. No pride. Just control. The human spoke first. This is Commander Elias Rook of the Earth Stellar Navy. Kale Draven stepped forward, his voice sharp. You will explain your actions. You blinded an Imperial fleet. That is an act of war. Elias Rook looked directly at him. No. It was an act of restraint. Kale's jaw tightened. Restraint? You entered our space. You refused boarding orders. We did not enter, Elias replied. We were already here. The Empire's officers exchanged looks. Kale leaned closer. Then why are you here? Elias paused for a moment, like choosing his words carefully. Because something is coming. What is coming? Kale demanded. Elias's eyes narrowed slightly. An enemy older than your empire. An enemy that eats fleets like dust. The war room's light seemed dimmer. Kale forced a laugh. You expect the Empire to believe a human story? Elias did not smile. You don't have to believe me. Then he added one sentence that cut like ice. You will see it. And when you do, your empire will go silent forever. The channel ended. And for the first time, the Galactic Empire did not know if it was watching a threat, or its only chance to survive. In the Imperial core, the war room felt like a tomb. The Emperor's Council stared at the dark screen where the human commander had been moments before. No one moved. No one spoke. Even the air seemed heavy. Supreme Admiral Kale Draven broke the silence, trying to sound strong. It's a trick. Humans want fear to enter our bones. But deep inside, he knew his words were weak. The Emperor's fingers tapped the armrest slowly. Humans do not speak like beggars, he said. They spoke like those who already know the ending. Kale turned sharply. We are the Empire. Nothing can end us. The Emperor looked at him without emotion. Then prove it. Search the void. Find this so-called enemy. Orders exploded outward. Hundreds of scanners turned toward the deep dark beyond the Gorgon Rift. Long-range probes were launched into dangerous space. Imperial spy satellites woke from sleep. For hours, the Empire found nothing. Then, near the edge of a dead star system, a probe returned a signal. It was not an image. It was a scream. The data packet was broken, full of static, but one thing was clear, the probe's camera had seen something massive moving in the darkness. The video lasted only 6 seconds. But it was enough. A wall of black shapes drifted like a storm made of metal. Not ships in formation, more like hungry insects traveling together. Their bodies looked sharp and unnatural, with glowing cores that burned like cold suns. The probe's final audio captured a strange sound, like thousands of whispers speaking at the same time. Then the feed ended. The war room froze. A council member whispered, "What is that?" A scientist replied, voice shaking, "Those readings, those are not normal engines. That is, space tearing." The Emperor stood up slowly. So the human spoke truth. Kale's face went pale. He hated it. He hated being wrong. But fear was now real. The enemy was not a rumor. On the border, the human warship Grave of Kings stayed silent, watching Imperial fleets like a predator watching wolves. The Empire no longer fired. They no longer shouted threats. They only waited. Kale Draven opened a private channel to the humans. His pride fought inside him, but survival was louder. "Commander Elias Rook," Kale said. "We received signals of unknown hostile movement." "Explain." The human commander appeared again, calm as before. "It is called the Null Swarm," Elias said. "We call it that because it leaves nothing behind. Not ships. Not planets. Not even signals." Kale clenched his teeth. "How do you know?" Elias answered, "Because it destroyed one of our colonies 2 years ago. 30 million humans died in 3 hours." The war room went silent again. Kale tried to hide his shock. Humans were emotional beings. If this had happened, they would be full of rage. But Elias showed no rage. Only discipline. Elias continued, "We tracked it. We learned. We built this ship." Kale pointed toward the screen. "That ship? You built it for this enemy?" "Yes," Elias replied. "It is not a symbol. It is a tool." Kale's voice hardened. "Then why come to us? Why not fight alone?" Elias looked directly into the camera. "Because the swarm is heading for the Empire first. Your border systems are directly in its path." A council member shouted, "Impossible. Our defense lines." Elias cut him off. "Your defense lines are paper against fire." Kale's fists tightened. "Then what do you want?" Elias finally said the sentence the Empire feared. "An alliance." The room exploded with anger. Council members shouted. Generals protested. The Emperor raised a hand and the room became quiet. Elias spoke again, softer but stronger. "Join us, or die alone. We are not asking because we need you. We are asking because billions of lives are at stake." Kale's voice became bitter. "And if we refuse?" Elias answered without blinking. "Then the Empire ends. And humans will remember that you chose pride over life." The channel closed. And now the Empire faced its greatest enemy, one outside, and one inside its own heart. The Empire did not sleep that night. Across the Imperial core, lights stayed on in military towers, defense stations, and command ships. War engines woke from deep storage. Fleet after fleet moved toward the border, like iron rivers flowing into darkness. Pride still lived in the Empire, but it now had a shadow behind it, fear. Supreme Admiral Kale Draven stood on the bridge of his flagship, Imperial Wrath, watching the tactical map. The human warship floated ahead of them, silent as a grave, its massive body cutting through space like a black blade. Kale's officers waited for him to speak. Kale finally said, "The humans lead. We watch. If they betray us, we crush them." None of the officers replied. They all knew the truth. If humans wanted war, the Empire could already be dead. In the war room, the Emperor had agreed to the alliance, but not with trust. He had agreed because the enemy called the Null Swarm was now closer than ever. The strange storm of metal and void had entered the outer sectors. Entire listening posts were going silent. No explosions. No distress calls. Only silence. The first Imperial colony that faced the swarm was a mining world called Varkesh 9. Its defense fleet was strong, its cannons built into mountains. The Empire believed the planet could hold. Until the swarm arrived. The Imperial fleet fired first. Hundreds of plasma beams and ion blasts lit space like a festival of fire. For a moment, the Empire felt hope. Then the darkness moved. The swarm did not dodge. It did not run. It ate the attacks. Shields formed like living skin. Black drones crashed into Imperial ships and melted through metal like acid. Warships screamed through emergency signals as systems failed one by one. In less than 12 minutes, the outer fleet was gone. Kale's eyes widened as he watched Varkesh 9's defense grid fall apart. His hands shook slightly. "This is not warfare," he whispered. "This is slaughter." Then the human voice entered the command channel. Commander Elias Rook spoke calmly, like someone reading weather reports. "All Imperial units, fall back. Do not engage at close range. Maintain distance and protect civilians." Kale snapped, "We do not take orders from humans." Elias cut him off. "Admiral Draven, do you want to win, or do you want to die loudly?" Kale's throat tightened. He hated it, but he could not deny the truth. He growled, "All fleets, fall back." Imperial ships pulled away. Many were damaged. Many were burning. The swarm followed like hunger itself. And then, the human warship moved. For the first time, the Grave of Kings accelerated fully. Space bent around its engines. Stars stretched like lines. The ship did not fly like an object, it moved like a force of nature. It placed itself between the swarm and the fleeing Imperial fleet. Kale's officer shouted, "Human ship is blocking the enemy." Kale stared. They planned to die alone. But Elias' ship did not show fear. Weapon doors opened across its hull like a giant beast revealing its teeth. Energy began to rise in waves, so powerful that Imperial sensors screamed warnings. The war room in the core watched through live feed. Council members leaned forward. The Emperor's fingers tightened on his throne. Then the humans fired. Not plasma. Not ion. Not even lasers. A single beam of pure white-blue light shot from the human warship like lightning from a god. It struck the front of the swarm and exploded into a silent wave. Ships of the swarm vanished. Not shattered. Not burned. Erased. The Empire's officers stared in disbelief. Kale's mouth opened, but no words came. The human ship fired again, this time in a wide arc. The beam cut through space like a sword, tearing through dozens of swarm bodies. The enemy's storm finally slowed. Then something even more shocking happened. The human ship launched hundreds of small fighters, silent drones with perfect formation. They moved like a swarm of their own, but with purpose. They protected Imperial evacuation ships, covering civilians. Humans were saving the Empire's people. Not because they were ordered. Because they chose to. Kale's pride broke inside him. He whispered, almost ashamed, "Why would they protect us?" An officer answered softly, "Because they can." The final clash came when the swarm revealed its core, a massive black mothership that looked like a moving void. It opened like a mouth. The Imperial fleets panicked. But the human warship did not move back. Commander Elias Rook sent one last message, heard by every ship, every scream, every soldier. "We don't build warships to show power, we build them so others can live." Then the Grave of Kings fired its final weapon. A bright star appeared in front of the ship, small, controlled, terrible. It expanded into a burning sphere that swallowed the swarm mothership whole. The void screamed without sound. And then, it ended. Space became quiet again. Imperial ships floated in shock, surrounded by broken debris and fading light. The Empire's greatest commanders had no words left. For the first time in centuries, the Galactic Empire truly went silent. Not from fear. From respect. And in that silence, the Empire finally understood something they never wanted to admit. Humans were not weak. Humans were the shield the galaxy did not know it needed.